Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. I do have one quick favor before we get to the video that you came here for, and that is very simply this. You see that little red subscribe button below this video? Go ahead, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. It really does help this channel grow and my audience grow. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And now, here is the video that you came here for. All right, everybody, I'm back. Good to be back. Good to be back. Do want to continue the college basketball conversation. I do want to take it in a little bit of a different direction because as I'm recording here, it is Monday night, and we're about, an hour or so away from the national title game between Kansas and North Carolina. It's going to be a great game. I'm really excited. By the time many of you listen to this, you'll know the final result and who is your 2022 national champion. But what I want to do instead is go in a different direction. I do want to go back and talk about what is obviously the biggest story of the last few days in college basketball, and that is the end of the illustrious career of Coach K. Saturday night, he plays North Carolina. Saturday night, he loses to North Carolina 81-77 in what was really the ultimate trump card game for North Carolina. Coach K, retirement tour. For the last year, we knew when his 2022 season ended, his career would end. What we couldn't have predicted was that it would happen in the Final Four in the first ever NCAA tournament meeting between Duke and Carolina for a trip to the national championship game, and now Duke is out. And so with Duke being out, Coach K's career is over. And what I would say before I kind of get to the big picture, what I'm trying to get to, I do want to, before we get to that, just be very clear. I'm actually a little bit sad to see Coach K go, okay? I'm not saying he's a perfect human being. I'm not saying he hasn't done dumb stuff. I'm not saying that I wish he hadn't defended Grayson Allen and he yelled at opposing people and he does this and he throws this. But I am going to miss him because I think he was good for college basketball. He was the biggest face at probably the biggest brand. And whether you loved Duke basketball or you hated Duke basketball, you always watched because you cared. And what makes sports sports and what makes the biggest and best sports the biggest and best is that ultimately you have rooting interest and you have an emotional attachment. Coach K gives that to you or gave that to you in college basketball the same way that LeBron James does in the NBA. You may love LeBron James, you may hate LeBron James, but if he's playing in a big game, especially in the postseason, you're probably watching. Same with when Derek Jeter was with the Yankees. You hated the Yankees, you loved the Yankees, but you watched Derek Jeter. Tom Brady, you hate Tom Brady, you love Tom Brady, but you watch Tom Brady. You hate Bill Belichick, you love Bill Belichick, but you watch the Patriots when he's playing. You hate Floyd Mayweather, you hate Conor McGregor, whoever, but you're watching them because they elicit emotion. And Coach K did that for college basketball. And so I'll be honest, I'm sad to see him go, not because I'm a Duke fan, not because I love Coach K, not because I'm a cheerleader, but because to me, he was good for the sport as a whole. But he is gone, and now that he is gone, I do think there is an interesting conversation to be had about Coach K. And this isn't me throwing dirt on his grave. This isn't me tearing him down. This isn't me trying to rip down his legacy. But I do have kind of an interesting question. Did Coach K actually underachieve over the course of the last decade of his career? And more importantly, why does John Calipari always get criticized for doing less with more talent than anyone in college basketball when Coach K has almost identical results? As a matter of fact, John Calipari has slightly better results over the last 10 years, and Coach K gets a complete pass. And I want to give credit to my buddy Nick Coffey on this one because Nick Coffey is a radio host in Kentucky, but he actually hosts in Louisville, and he covers Louisville, and he's not a Kentucky homer. They're actually his biggest rival. But on Monday, he asked me point blank, he goes, why does Calipari always get criticized for doing less with more, and Coach K gets a complete pass? And I said, Nick, that's a great question. And then I thought about it, and I chewed on it, and I looked up the numbers. And here's what you need to know over the last 10 years of Coach K's career. Since 2012, when John Calipari won his national title. Here's what you need to know. Coach K missed one NCAA tournament. That was last year because of COVID. He had 3 first weekend exits, 6 Sweet 16s, 5 Elite Eights, 2 Final Fours, and 1 national championship. For pretty much anybody, that would be an incredible run. 5 Elite Eights in your final 10 years as a head coach, 2 Final Fours, 1 national title. Here's the thing, though. If you look at John Calipari's numbers, they're eerily similar, and actually better. 2 missed NCAA tournaments. That's 1 more than Coach K. 2 first weekend exits. 6 Sweet 16s, the same. 5 Elite Eights, the same. 3 Final Fours, so more than Coach K. And 1 national title. And so just think about how these 2 men are covered. Coach K, and this is not me tearing on his grave or ripping on his grave or throwing dirt on his grave. It's just stating facts. In the last 10 years of Coach K's career, he had 1 fewer missed tournament than John Calipari, both during COVID. 3 first weekend exits, including 2 in the first round, 1 with Jason Tatum. The same number of Sweet 16s as John Calipari, the same number of Elite Eights, the same number of national titles, and 1 fewer Final Four appearance. So just do some math here. Calipari, in the negative, you would say he missed 2 tournaments as opposed to Coach K. But in the positive, Calipari has 1 fewer opening weekend loss and more Final Four appearances than Coach K. But if you listen to the way they were covered, 1 is the greatest that has ever lived, and 1 is an absolute bum that wastes talent. Now, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. Well, Torres, obviously, it's because Calipari has had more talent over those years. Is it really? Is it really? Because I would actually argue that Coach K has had, I don't know about significantly more talent over the last 10 years than Calipari has. Now, Calipari was great early in his time at Kentucky. John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis was obviously part of that 2012 title team. But here is who Coach K has had just in the last 8 or 9 years that he has been head coach. He has had Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, Jason Tatum, Cam Reddish, Marvin Bagley, Gary Trent, Tyus Jones, Justice Winslow, Jahlil Okafor, Paolo Banchero this year, A.J. Griffin this year. I think you can argue. I don't even think it's a debate. Now, Calipari's had some talent too. Anthony Davis, Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Bam Adebayo, a couple guys that he developed within the program, Tyler Hero and Devin Booker. But I don't think there's any debate that Coach K has had more talent. Just listen to those names again. Just off the top, Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, Jason Tatum, Paolo Banchero, Marvin Bagley, Luke Kennard, Grayson Allen. The talent is through the roof. More Final Fours for Calipari, 1 fewer first weekend loss. And I'm not saying that Calipari should be excused for everything. I'm not saying he should be excused for St. Peter's. I'm not saying he should be excused for a 2013 NIT. But what I am saying is it is absolutely amazing to me how the 2 are covered. And by the way, just as many crushing losses for Duke over that same stretch. Just as crushing as it was, and I don't mean to be all dire here, but that 2019 Zion team was so much better than everybody else in college basketball that year. They don't even make a Final Four. They don't even make a Final Four with Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, and Trey Jones. They didn't even make a Final Four. This year, by far, I would argue the most talented team in college basketball. Now, Caleb Love and Armando Bacot are really good. But we're talking about potential 5 first-round picks in the NBA draft this year. And they lost to North Carolina. And that's on top of, oh, by the way, losing to Mercer early in the NCAA tournament. I didn't even mention Jabari Parker in 2014 or whatever it was. Losing in the first round of the tournament another year. Losing in the second round of the tournament in the state of South Carolina with Jason Tatum. And so it's not to say that Calipari is this amazing coach that has no flaws or whatever. He's got some devastating losses too, and we all know what they are. But to me, what it does speak to is how the 2 are covered. John Calipari, we all know his background, went to UMass, went to the NBA, went to Memphis, comes to Kentucky, brash, bold, I'm going to recruit the best of the best, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to have all these whatever. And no matter what he does, some people it'll never be good enough. Because to me, here's the thing. If I'm looking at since 2012 and I see 6 Sweet 16s, 5 Elite Eights, 3 Final Fours, 1 national title, I'm saying that's good enough. Now, it's frustrating in the moment because of St. Peter's. But it's the almost identical resume to Coach K. And Coach K, we're talking about, riding out on a white horse this incredible career. And so it's just something to think about. It's just something to chew on. It's something that I've been thinking about over the last day or so. And to be clear for the last time, this isn't to pile on Coach K on his way out the door. This isn't to say he's the worst thing that's ever happened to college basketball in the history of the sport. What I am trying to say, though, is it is worth considering and it is worth thinking about how one coach just gets labeled endlessly as a guy that can't get the job done, and then another coach is an all-timer. who we said goodbye to on Saturday.